All right, today we are going to replace the clutch on this 2010 Ford Focus. It is a 2.0 5-speed. I believe the generation is a second generation, and it goes from 2008 to 2011. So we are going to start tearing this apart. It's going to be a detailed how-to. Hopefully it comes out well and it becomes a good video reference. All right, let's flip this camera. All right, customer states that he lost drivability, like he would accelerate and it barely goes forward. I went ahead and I tested it myself, and sure enough, it does have a clutch issue. Since I'm already here, I'm just going to go ahead and take a quick glance of the vehicle all the way around, because that helps me show that it's going to leave the same way it came in. Okay. All right, first thing we're going to do is go ahead and loosen the lug nuts, and then either pop this cap off and try to get to the axle nut to remove that, and we're going to do the same thing on both sides. Okay, so I went ahead and removed the cap, and now we're going to spray some PB Blaster on the threads and a 32mm axle nut socket. You don't have a cotter pin. They're self-locking. You use my snap-on breaker bar ratchet adapter. This is what it looks like. Do that for the other side. Same on both sides. Right, we're going to go ahead and take off the battery. So the battery tray bracket. Go ahead and get that out the way. It's a 10mm. Where's my parts? It's like an U-shaped bracket. Here's an 8mm. That's a bolt. Tray. Now the battery posts, 10mm. Now we're going to take the intake off. So first I'll just go ahead and remove this connector here. Let's see. I like to get more things out of the way as possible. So We'll just go ahead and push the tab down. It should unlock and come up with it. So now that's out the way. We have another vacuum line here. Probably just pulling it here. No, gotta watch out with these plastic pieces, they might break. So you want to be careful as you pull. You want to twist. There you go, so that's off. So now this has 3 tabs for the intake filter. Go ahead and pop those. This should come up, but before I even bother doing that, I'm going to go ahead and unscrew this so I can take the intake throat out as well. You can see it. Okay, so it seems like the ECU is in the way, but let's just move it a little bit. Okay, the filter looks like it could use a replacement. We can worry about that later. General gaining access methodology here. So, haven't done this job before, and I have no reference, so we're just looking around and we're going to see what the next part is to take off. So I think I'm going to remove this box eventually. There's some screws here. Just gives me a better visualization of what's going to be connected around the transmission and the bell housing, so I can gain access downward. Now I'm sure the ECU is going to come off, so we are going to unclip this. Be careful on how hard you push things without right leverage, because you can slip and hurt yourself. Okay, so that's disconnected, and now we just have to find what secures it, which I can see the bracket, and there's some bolts down there, so that means this has to come out first. And where is the hardware for this? Seems like to be right here. Okay, so we are getting at it. 8mm. Right here is the only thing that was keeping it there. Had to just unhinge it from that coupling. Now we can see the one mounting point for the ECU, and this might be another one down here. I wouldn't be surprised if there's another one down here. I think so. All right, that looks like a 13mm. Confirm that real quick. Confirmed. Now back to the 8mm. This one might break. Throw some PB blasted on that. This is why I like to use hand tools versus impact, because the impact would have just snapped this bolt in half. I'm going to see if this one down here, oh, I wasn't going to go for that one, but it was just those two mounting points, and now your ECU's out. Now we're just gonna work on getting this tray off. I already see one bolt there. There's another one down here, another one up here. And I'm gonna go ahead and so I don't know if you can see that. Let me check. It's like there's 3 bolts here to remove this plastic tray. It's all full of water and gunk. I'm gonna go ahead and clean that off. It's 3 8mm bolts, and then at the same time I have to clear some of my memory on this phone because I'm running out of space. I shall return. All right, at some point the water destroyed the hardware. It's impossible to remove. Plus, I still haven't deleted all the other information. I have to be quick here because I don't have a whole lot of time. I only got 6 minutes left to edit the video and erase extra stuff. Anyways, I have to break this apart because the hardware is gone. If you can see down here, I don't know if it'll be clear to see, but that's all like epoxied in there. So somebody blobbed on epoxy on that bolt, but then these two flaw of Ford's design, there's no drain hole, or if there was, it got clogged. Actually, I see a drain hole here. That's not a drain hole. I actually pried here to remove it. I have to crack it up because up and out, I need to remove this to gain access to this. So I'll try to get it on camera. If not, then I'll just get it off camera, but that's what I'll be doing now to remove this. Otherwise, I think it would have been like 2 8mm nuts and then a larger something. This is just a blob there. So we'll see what comes out of it. Yes, so we can still put it on, but there was no other way to get this off. Actually, pry this tab off. Ta-da! I'm going to PB blast all these spots and let it sit while I work on all that, because as you can see, the condition of all this, it needs some breaking down, and I don't want for the next video edit you see all that already done. So there we go. All right, we're back, and now we're better. They've been soaking in for about 15 minutes while I cleared the cache, and now we're going to go ahead and remove this tray. This looks like to be a 10mm, and these, I would have to guess, a 13, 15. Let's make sure I'm recording. Okay, this is going to be the first question software. This is my factory feeling for handles. Okay, maybe an impact here would be nice. All right, now we got a 10. Got another 10 on this side. So this is not going to come off because even after I take that off, obviously. Ya está hecho. Okay, ya voy. Because this bolt is the transmission bracket motor mount, and I'm gonna have to hold the transmission underneath to get the bracket off, and I think I'm gonna have to temporarily put that bolt or that nut back on, and we shall see what happens here in a second. A strip. Try a 6-point. 6-point got it. The bolt is out of round because it's spinning like this. So I think it was about to snap the head off. Just gonna undo this clip here real quick. See if I can do it without tools. All right, now to support the transmission from underneath, it is a 21 millimeter. Put this off to the side for now. Okay. Alright, transmission mount is temporarily off, so we can get this off. If I drop it, it's going to pull on a bunch of stuff. We don't need that right now. What we need to do is start disconnecting things around, and we'll do the top today. It's kind of late for me, just got off of work, so we're going to just do the top, and then tomorrow you'll see daylight because we're going to do the bottom. So let's see, what do I want to access today? Let's see if I can change the camera angle here. All right, we're going to be working with a difficult camera angle here. There's no real way to put the camera in here and also me work with the amount of stuff that is going on here. So I'm just going to try to verbalize it and account for the fact that if you're about to do this job, like always, there's a certain amount of mechanical expertise that you're just going to have to do on your own. As much as I would like to like float a camera here so you guys can see everything I'm doing, but what I'm looking at right now is removing the shifter linkage, and there's a couple ways I can go about it. By looking at it, I can just remove the 2 nuts that hold the bracket that holds both cables, or dismantle it, each cable in itself, and then gain access to the bracket mounting hardware. I can do that. Also, there's going to be like hardware, like, I don't know if you can see that right here. There's hardware with like brackets and things like that that just hold stuff in place. I'm going to start working my way towards that, just to remove anything that's connected to the transmission. And obviously, how do you find that out? Well, you just keep looking at stuff that's on top, and once you get everything off on top, you don't have to take off anything else. One thing that looks like is going to be a challenge for me is the starter. I don't see the bolts for it. It looks like it's going to be something from the other end, and there's not a whole lot of space on the other end to work towards, but obviously it can be done. It's probably going to be a work a little bit from the top, work a little bit from the bottom. Because this is not a starter removal and installation video, I'm not going to add too many details on the starter, more than what I'm just saying to remove the starter. I would like to add more detail if I can. If I'm able to, I'll record it. If the recording does not come out with good angles, it's going to be cut and omitted. All right, so what I'm going to do is just slowly take things apart, which the clutch line is just one C-clip. I believe you just lift it up and then you'll pull the hose out. I'm sure it'll bleed a little bit of fluid. Well, it came out flying. I heard it hit the ground somewhere. Here you go. So that comes off. And now we should be able to pull that line out. Can you see it in the camera? All right, so the line is out. So again, I'm moving things around to see where else it's hooked up. There's a little bracket here with the rubber grommet. That's off. So that's essentially off now. We got some leaking going on. So that's off. Now we're going to get this bracket off. We're going to remove the other shifter linkage. Okay. Both shifter linkages are removed. There's a button that you have to press. While you're pressing it, you pop it off out of the little ball joint. That gives me a little bit more access to get the mounting hardware off. Which are going to be two 14 millimeters. And of course I can't fit it. The mounting bracket for the shifter linkage is 15 millimeters. Not a whole lot of space to work with, but it can be done. It's just going to take time. That seems to be the theme for this whole car. Just give yourself a lot of time. Give yourself a lot of time. The bolt is too close to the edge. You can't fit a ratchet wrench, but I'm gonna try. Nope. Hand tool it is, the whole way. You can barely get it because you'll be fighting with everything around it. Oh, it's a nut. Even better. Nut. Don't fall. 15mm nut. One more to go. Even less accessibility. Because that's what I need. Sorry, actually, I need this. Oh my god. Like I have to jam it in between so many things to gain access. It's not funny. So now maybe a stubby ratchet wrench could do the trick. I'm turning it, but I don't know what's happening. Like I can't tell if it's turning or not because this one is a bolt. Barely any space to do anything with this. Might be able to use a stubby again. It's just with the stubby being so thick, and these bolts are close to the transmission itself, so I'm unable to get a full seat in, and it wants to go cockeyed. It was an actual another nut. 2 nuts. That bracket should be able to come off. Alright, the bracket is off. Now here what I would do is, I'm going to grab some zip ties, zip it to something and keep it up and out. Right here is a ground cable with a 13mm bolt that is right adjacent to the starter. I went ahead and I zip tied the shifter linkage bracket to some of the lines, which would then now raise it away from the transmission. I'm thinking I can probably, nope, I can't do it no more. It's already kind of tight there, so what we're trying to do is just gain comfortable clearance. Comfortable clearance. One thing I noticed is this intake or throttle body here is filthy, full of actual grit, like sand and dirt. So it's kind of not good, but it's not what we're doing today. So again, I'm just moving stuff for clearance. You can kind of see it's looking a little better now. Let's do that. My flashlight right there. All right, so it's looking a little bit better. Now I can see kind of like this. There's a connector here. Let's go ahead and just remove this. Simple press in and pull up. If it to. I have to use the good flat tip assistant to go off the base and test it. Always fun. That was interesting, but it's off. So again, I'm going to move it around out the way. So now from the top, what I can see that's still connected is the two top bolts for the transmission bell housing. There's a metal bracket that's like a standoff for some harness to mount onto, so it's not touching the transmission. And now that I have a better visualization of that starter, it looks like there is two bolts that holds the starter this way. I'm accustomed to seeing the starter bolts go longitudinal, but we're going to go with those are the mounting bolts, which obviously should be two. And I'm not too worried about none of the connectors on it because I just need it to be removed, and I'll try to push it off the way. It'll just save me some work. If it ends up being that I need to remove the hardware, the main power and the solenoid connector, I'll do that too. But okay, so we're gonna go and remove the hardware up here on top, which is looks like a 15 deep well. These Husky ones are close in lumens and design as the Snap-on ones, but these were $15, I think, for like a pair. So, and they have lifetime warranty. So I'm not worried about anything that happens to them because I'll just go swap it out. And when they swap it out, they come with batteries, so I won't even have to worry about that. So let's see if that bracket is only held by 1 point. Of course not, it's going to be by 2. And I can't see the second one, which makes it fun. But we're going to go with what we can see now and work our way to things we can't see. There's the second one. Here. If it was Japanese, it would have been a 14. Of course, that's going to be super tight. So now I'm looking around. I'm going to try to get those starter bolts. They also look like 13s. And I'll let you know what comes out of that. Hopefully the only thing that comes out of that is a starter. Badoonch. Of course, this other one has one of those studs. It has a nut that holds a starter, a bracket, and then another nut. So we're gonna have to loosen all those little by little. There's barely any threads on it because it's super rusty, but we're gonna give it a try. It's a little 10mm bastard right there. That goes for the starter bolt stud. Just remove the bracket off of that stud. Now we should be able to get the big stud, which we'll assume is a 13 as well. So we're just going to size it up with a wrench, see what happens. Yep. 13. These snap-on ones with their thin profile definitely has helped out already since I've owned them. That's what it looks like. I'm going to wiggle the starter, see if it is loose. Nope, not even in the slightest. That's great. That means there's more hardware that's securing it. Of course. Of course. All right, so I removed the bolt here, the bolt here, two of the however many starter bolts. There's another 2 bolts down here I can probably access from up top, but I most likely will just do it from the bottom. I'm going to go back to this side over here to this bracket. So all I'm going to do is just feel the bracket, see where else it is secured. Okay, it's a long ass bracket. Can't believe I need a step stool. Oh, nice. There is another 15mm bolt in between the exhaust manifold and that bracket, and then the bracket can come off because that bracket is wedged in between the stud here and the block has a stud, which is going to make removing the transmission really fun because you would have to push the transmission out all the way out before you can drop it. So the bracket is off. And again, what we're going to do, oh wait, wow, there's even more to this. Okay, there's just levels to this. All right. So you got to remove that bracket. So once you remove the bracket, in order to remove the bracket, you have to remove a nut on this side of this stud. You have to remove the nut on the other stud. And then once that is out, this is a bolt stud. So it has the base of like a 13 millimeter. So you can go ahead and remove that stud. And then the same thing on the back end for that bracket, because it's a bolt that holds the transmission just on the opposite side. Fun. There's levels to this. So we're going to go ahead and get to it. I'm going to do this one here first. Just use a straight breaker bar. There you go. Fine. Yes, it's highly edited. So you're not here watching me struggle. I'm not that fast. That's in the back. Well, I looked up online that starter and it's sure it is definitely just 2 bolts. So I guess it's just kind of like stuck in there. But I have the Unstucker 3000 and we're gonna see what it do. It's moving. There it is. It just needed a lot of wiggling, but it's away. Okay, so now it's away from the transmission side. Just verifying there's none of those multi-level stud bolt combos on this side. I'm gonna stick my hand in the back. I don't feel anything, so that means we are done with accessing things from the top. Don't see anything else that's hooked up on the top. So now we get to go to the bottom. But before we do that, I'm going to put this on because I need to get underneath and my jack is in the way. You can tell this is no longer lined up. Now it's lined up. Just one bolt. That should do it. Okay, we're underneath the vehicle and my tripod cannot really go that low. So what I'm going to do is point at what I'll be taking apart and then I'll work on that. So most of everything on top has already been removed. The transmission is being held by the remaining hardware here. So you got like those two bolts there. Let's turn the flash on here real quick. Bolt, bolt, bolt. On this side here, bolt, bolt. There's a bolt there. Now, before I even go full on removing or decoupling the transmission from the block, what I'm going to do is remove your transmission mount, which is a bolt right there, and then the long bolt that goes through, and then I'll just wiggle that out and pull it out. Then I'm going to come over here and we're going to remove this so I can lower the arm so I can disconnect the CV axle. I'm going to do that on both ends. One thing I'm going to show you here, I'm going to do a barrel roll real quick. All right, so looking at this piece of the CV axle, there's a bolt right there, and there's another one where it mounts, yeah, right over here. So you have to get those off on this side so you can take the CV axle off. Now if you notice here, there's a bolt here as well, and I had already removed, oh, there's one more there where the center of the camera is, and then now that's the one that I had to go over the engine to remove. But this is the one that's next, following that one and the rest I showed. All right, I'm going to remove the control arm right here. That's going to be rusty busty, super fun. And the next clip is going to be those removed, because these are going to be not easy to do on camera. Here we have an issue. On this side, the axle did not want to come off. Pneumatic hammer, anything did not want to come off. So I was going to take this off anyways, so that's off. However, I had to disconnect the bracket from here for the brake line. I guess the ABS sensor, there's a bracket there, and also the sway bar and link bar. I removed that right here. So now I was able to push the whole thing out and gain access or clearance right here for that. So hopefully this is enough. If not, I have to push it further out, secure it with something, because all this is going to come down, and hopefully it doesn't wedge on this, and I can push the transmission down and out. To cover a little bit more of what I've done, same thing on this side. Here's the axle, CV axle. Same issue on the other side, so I went ahead and removed it. Right here are the 1, 2, and 3 right there. 3. Remove those bolts, and then you can remove this. And what it is, I pulled it that way, decoupled it from here, and now this is the one that we did from on top of the engine. I just went ahead and took this off camera, and now we have this last connector right here to remove. I went ahead and also undid this bolt here, and this bolt, which was a pain in the butt for access, and then this bolt here, and then I think there was another bolt. I think it was from the mount itself that came off. All right, that's just a little mount here. It has like a wishbone here, 2-piece mount. That is off. Now the whole engine wiggles in place because it's only held by 2 points and a little bit off the exhaust manifold itself. Let's see if I can get this off camera with one hand. I can't see what type of connector it is, but gonna have to pull that sheathing out. So yeah, so just go ahead and get this connector off, and then for me, all I have is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6 bolts. It's holding the transmission in. So what I'm going to do is do a dry run after I remove that connector, just letting go of this transmission mount up here and just watching it come down so I can see what kind of clearance I'm going to have before I take this apart, because once I take this apart, it's going to undo itself. And then I'll be dealing with an engine only with an engine mount wobbling, and then the transmission wobbling. It's going to be a nightmare. So I just kind of want it to pivot down, up and down, see if I can just get some movement like this, if it comes down. And then once I see it is at a good angle, I'll use my jack to secure the engine at the position that I want it, so I can then slide the transmission out. Okay. Let me know in the comments if you're still watching, because I appreciate that. Also, let me know what kind of tool snob are you, because I got Craftsman, socket, I got snap-on extension, and in this case, Craftsman breaker bar. We're gonna go ahead and remove the transmission mount, because what I just did is lower the transmission down. Again, it's looking good. I don't see an issue other than the whole thing in itself is a pain in the ass. Yeah, we're gonna remove that transmission mount just to give me more clearance. So we're gonna break the torque with this brake bar. All right, that one I need a universal, and now I'm gonna swap to my snap-on ratchet like it matters. It don't. I'm gonna take this universal. Actually, let's get this back one here first. I swapped jackets, if you haven't noticed, because it got really dirty and oily. I was starting to get itchy, and that's not good. I'm gonna take this universal off. Start doing a lot of work like this, and you take the part off, go ahead and put the hardware inside the part if the part allows. That way when you put things together, you don't have a bucket full of random bolts in different lengths. It minimizes that inconsistency of putting it back together correctly. Alright, that is out. This is what I'm talking about. Like this. Now I'll just put it off to the side. Now, even better view of what's going on. There's nothing attached to the transmission anymore. Not from underneath, not from up top. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can change this camera angle and start removing some of the bolts underneath. If I can't get a good angle, you won't see it, but I'll try to record me muscling the transmission out. But for things like this, you want to make sure that they're not loose, because it'll get caught. I'm about to fix that. All right, here we go. literally the phone is just on the battery, the car's battery that I put down. It's leaning against it. So if it moves, my bad. The transmission, the whole engine is down, and there's only one motor mount on the front of the engine itself, not the front of the car. I'll show you its wiggleness. So what I'm going to do is get underneath here, wiggle it, and hopefully once it comes over the clutch assembly and whatever dowel pins it's resting on right now, it'll come down, and hopefully none of this is in the way, and I can just kind of put it on my chest and then roll it over. Let's see how that goes. Okay, what's happening? Oh, that's beautiful. There's a small crevice on this side of the transmission, and the CV axle actually wedged itself in it, and I have to figure out how to pull it out. Okay. It's almost out. I just have to probably angle it this way, and it should come down. Uh-huh.
Where is your friend Mr. Bill?
He's gone.
Why?
I told you he went to the airport.
He went to the airport? He's getting the friend.
So I don't know if I got other things jammed up right now. I'm gonna have to go check it out from upstairs. But it's hard to tell because I won't be able to move it from the top.
Okay. Now we know. Dad,
Yeah?
are you talking to me?
Nope.
Then who are you talking to?
The camera.
Oh. Okay.
I'm gonna go and actually lift it. See if that angle gives me an advantage. Because obviously right now it's not. The same thing with this axle. This transmission has another crevice that it wedged the axle in it. And if you're asking me why I haven't removed the axle, this side is seized up and it can't come out. So, Abby, close the door. It was just a matter of getting the right angle. We got it down. Let's get the first look with the camera. Right here. Gonna get this thing to focus real quick. Yeah. All right, so now I'm gonna obviously get this off the way and take a break. But what I'm gonna do is now remove these bolts all the way around. Clutch pack is gonna come off. Give me a moment to do that, and I will show you what this looks like. All right, so camera's probably gonna fall because I only have it leaning against some cables just to get this angle here real quick. But in preparation of the removal of the clutch and possibly the flywheel, depending on its condition, I'm going to zip tie some of these wires that kind of fell down, because coming reinstallation, these things are going to be a pain in the butt to be fighting against with, because I have nobody here. I know some of the people watching, they know me, and I've worked on their cards before, and they're actually never here when I need help. Yep. There it is. I was actually, I think I had a dream. I dropped my camera just like that, something silly, and then I cracked the screen, and I just told myself, man, I just got this phone. And then I woke up and I was like, wow, that was a close call. And then now I just dropped it, but I did not crack the screen. So again, like I was saying, a lot of people tell me, when is it done? Are you done? But they don't ever ask me, how's it going? You need any help? They ghost. But when they drop their car off, they'd be like, is it done yet? But to be fair, not a whole lot of people find enjoyment in working on cars. Apparently I do. I guess a small level of masochism, but okay. So got that up and out the way. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the clutch. Hopefully I don't turn the whole thing trying to loosen these, otherwise I'm going to have to put my impact. And I still to this day don't own impact tools. If you're still watching, I appreciate you for watching it the whole way. Tell me what you think so far about how I'm doing this stuff. I need your feedback, whether it's worth it to edit it the way I am editing it, or you want to see something different. Now, mind you, I'm not a pro, so just comment below, let me know what you think I should do. And if you're here watching this video, most likely you're about to take on this in your house or in a shop. I know you mechanics at the shop just trying to watch this real quick, but it's all good. We are all here to help each other. Just help me by commenting, liking. I don't know why you would share this, but if you're bold enough to do that, appreciate it. All right, that was 6. That looks like that's all she wrote. So we're gonna go ahead and pop this thing off. Trying to keep the dust to a minimum. All right, I will show you what we have here. This is what we got. So this is the flywheel side. It is on its like last leg. I've seen worse. It's not exploded, so that's good. There's definitely hot spots here because obviously as he was driving it while it was slipping, I mean, that's just gonna compound to the issue itself. But that doesn't look that bad. All right. Now, let's flip this. And here you can see, I don't know if it's that clear, but these rivets have been grinding like there. So it's definitely past its gripping point. That's why it was sliding. And that rivet there was essentially grinding here, which is where your lip, like there's a physical indentation there. I think that was the only thing, like that's why it was sliding, because it still had grip. It was just the rivets itself trying to grind here. So most likely this was like super hot, trying to gain friction. Anyways, it's toast. We knew that. Here we are. And I'm gonna see if about removing this and getting it resurfaced, because that's just the right thing to do. All right, this completes the tear down. This completes the tear down of the transmission. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, and tell me what you think. Subscribe on this side, comment on that side, like on this side, comment below. And stay tuned for the installation video, or the part 2.